Anytime you try to do something on your own, there are problems and challenges. You can have problems working with other people or problems finding the right people to work with. You can have challenges that arise with the circumstances of what you're trying to do, or challenges because you don't have enough clarity on what you're trying to do. Well, in this episode, it's all about that. I'd like to share with you what has transpired over the last month while Kalie and I have been away shooting content in Lisbon and we were unable to visit any properties. For those of you that don't know, my name is Josh, and this is the Vertical Community Venture, where we attempt to identify a property in Porto, Portugal, buy, renovate it, move in, and live a lifestyle where we know our neighbors and try to support each other as neighbors should. I've been in Portugal for a year and a half now with my wife and 2-year-old daughter, and we've been actively trying to learn the language of Portuguese. To give you even more important background, we've been real estate investors for nearly 10 years now, and I've already done several real estate deals with my business partners while I've been living abroad. This project is all on me, however. Well, kind of. I did put out a poll on the YouTube community tab to see who was interested in what we're doing, because the reality is what we're trying to do might take some serious capital investment. Now, I mean to the tune of €1 million. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have €1 million just sitting around. In fact, I'll need a mortgage. It's not only that I'll need to borrow money, but it's also that I'd like to borrow money, but we'll get to that down the road. Now, at this point, Kalie and I have 4 other people who are interested in doing the same thing. They all want to invest with us. We have a single guy, a single girl, and 2 brothers, and I'm not sure if they're single or not, but those 2 guys want to live together. I've never met them, but based on their affirmative responses to my first survey and their wish list, it certainly aligns with what the idea of the project is and what we're trying to do. So what is this idea that we have? Well, we want a building with some charm. It needs to be in our target area of our favorite neighborhood here in Porto. We'd love for it to have some communal space, either a shared garden or rooftop terrace. And like any sane person, we like it to have good electrical and plumbing, as well as sound noise insulation and thermal insulation. We want to like each other, and a part of liking each other is not being able to hear each other. Now, also, Porto and Portugal in general can be rather humid, so we want to keep the dampness out so that we keep the mold away and other problems that dampness causes. These are the main features of the building that we're looking for, and we're also looking for 4 units that are going to be different sizes, with the largest minimum square meters that we need is around 100 square meters for one of the apartments, and that's already proving to be an issue. A lot of the buildings we're finding just don't have a footprint that's 100 meters or larger. The other problem is that the buyers of this unit don't want what is called a duplex here in Portugal, which means that one unit is divided over 2 floors and there are internal stairs that are connecting the floors. For further information, the other 3 units are minimum of 47 meters square, 60 meters square, and 80 meters square. Now, we need at least 3 T2s and 1 T1. T plus a number refers to the number of bedrooms that can officially be classified as a bedroom, and it mainly depends on having a window in the room to the outside. Kalie and I personally don't mind having a +1, like a T2 +1 would be awesome. And that would be a 2-bedroom, and the +1 part would be another room that could maybe be used like a bedroom, but it doesn't have any windows, so it's an interior room. Now, why would we like that? Well, it'd be great to have a dark room for Sia to sleep, of course. There's also the possibility of mezzanines in the apartments, especially because we're seeing buildings that have floors that have high ceilings. And if you're not familiar with the mezzanine, it's a floor in a building which is partially open to like a double head height ceiling floor below. Or it doesn't extend over the whole floor space of the building. And it's not a loft, so it doesn't have a sloped wall. The challenge with either a duplex or mezzanine is that you do lose some square meters due to the stairs in the case of a duplex, or you obstruct or lessen the impact of the high ceilings by adding a mezzanine, while gaining square meters and extrinsic value of the property. Now, all of these things rolled together make it very difficult to find a property that would even come close to our criteria. Now, it's not like you can't find something like this in Portugal, but it's more because our geographical search area is rather small. We've already toured one property. If you want to see that tour, check out the description of this video. There's going to be a link down there and you can check it out after we wrap up here. I've got several more things to break down for you though. While in Lisbon, another building came on the radar, and this building is on our exact street, our dream street. I got a call from Nuno and Anna as they updated me on our search list and to check to see if anything had changed for us. I did let them know that we're open to the possibility of finding a much larger building, say 10 units instead of 4, because the list of interested people, it just keeps growing and growing. It's amazing actually. Okay, so the property that is on our dream street. Nuno connected with Isabel again, and they actually went to do a property tour of this property that we're gonna check out in a little bit. Now, Nuno sent me images of the building and it looks like it's in really rough shape, but it does have some absolutely stunning features. We were a little cold on visiting the place initially because the price per square meter is just too high for what we're trying to do, and the selling agent has already told us that the price is non-negotiable. What does that even mean? To me, this is real estate and everything is negotiable. But at that price, that's it. It doesn't work. However, I do need to see it and see if it's something worth pursuing and potentially getting an architect involved to see if our group can fit, because the footprint is 117 square meters. We'll be scheduling a walkthrough of that building when Kalie and I get back to Porto. Now, let me show you some highlights from that conversation between Nuno, Anna, and me.
The best option here will be for Nuno to actually, me scouting the area. And he may find some interesting off-market things, but the off-market things have a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that they are usually better priced. The bad thing is often the documentation is not in order and all the sellers are not in agreement. So it can be a pain to get that to actually go through because the people who don't want to hire real estate agents, it's usually because they don't want to pay them, and it's often also because they are those kind of people that want to just do everything themselves, but often they don't really know what they're doing, so it can be problematic to deal with.
I guess my biggest question that I have that I need to take back to the group, I need to take the answer from you guys back to the group, is what's the difference in the timeline if we find a property where all we have to do is work on the inside versus finding a property where we either add a floor above or we extend something in the back?
Yeah, the difference is significant. Of course, that if you only have to work on the inside, it's depending on how much work, it will be between 6 to 8 months. While if you have to rebuild something, it will be probably on closer to the year. The thing is, you will, if it's just interior, you don't have to license it. So in general, it's much faster. But because you want to split into apartments, you need the license. Otherwise, they won't be individual properties. They will be a whole one unit for the building.
Time isn't a massive issue. Like if people can get moved in by the end of 2023, they're fine. So that seems to be able to,
probably doable.
Yeah, that seems to be able to fit into what you're saying. And I think it's more important for people to be in the right building with the right specs in their apartment, rather than us trying to make sacrifices and shrink things to fit the building that we find that will keep everything interior. So it sounds like we really need to look for something that is good value and that we can add on to, whether it be up or out, probably out to fit the 100 square meter mark, but then also up to create more value in the property.
It will give you a better return on investment in most cases.
So the process of putting in a reservation price is fairly straightforward?
Yes, you have two options of going to reserve a house. You can do a reserve contract, and often that's just a verbal agreement where the seller takes out the property from the market and it stays reserved for you for a period of time. Most sellers only do this for like 2-3 weeks. They don't do it for a very long period. The other process is to do the actual reservation, the actual promise contract. and have this time frame to take care of things. There is a deposit, and you can put in the contract that the deposit is refundable with a small penalty in case the loan doesn't go through. But it will always be a bigger loss than the reservation situation in case it doesn't go through.
Okay, so when we're ready to do this, you guys will advise whether we do a reservation or promissory. Okay.
The reservation can be done like Anna was telling you. It's not always tied to money. You don't have to make sometimes it's just talk to them and say honestly, we are in this situation, we really want to go through with this. So secure me this for a couple of weeks.
But when it's a verbal agreement, it's usually just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They don't do it very long.
Honestly, couple of weeks. The best I got till now was always 3-4 days for verbal agreements. Okay. But it depends on the value of the property. If it is something that will take many visits, people are not willing to reserve it. If it's like a property that they already know that the common of mortals cannot buy it all of a sudden, they will say, okay, I'll make this for you for 2 or 3 weeks. It doesn't matter to them because it's not easy to sell.
The next step possibly would be to try to find some off-market deals as well within that kind of tight geographic area.
This area that you are targeting, I've gave another lap in this area yesterday, and there is no new advertisements visible. We have to knock doors and ask.
Would it help if we had more people involved in the deal? Like if we were looking for a bigger building, would that help or no? Let's say that we need our current requirements, and I could bring on a couple other people that need properties as well. Because Anna, you had a look at the video, and then we had a bunch of people writing us, oh, I'm interested, da 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 da. And it's like, guys, in reality, we're more than a month ahead of where that video was. So people are very confused about that, and they're probably going to be even more confused about this video because of the distance, it's going to have. But we have some people that are super interested, and I told them I'm not interested in adding more people to the group. But honestly, if it helps us find the right property that fits the initial 4 investors and then the new people we bring on, I'm okay. So Nuno, if you're okay looking for something bigger that would fit all of us, do it. I don't love, having to move the goalpost on you guys. And I don't think we are moving the goalpost, but if it helps in the property search to add another 1 or 2 units, to add another 1 or 2 investors, let's take a look at that and see if that solves the problem. But I do know that adding more people into the equation then complicates things because there's more people to have their own separate demands.
When we release the tour video of that building, it's going to appear right here. Now, if you're new to this series, you need to click here to get caught up on what we've done so far. And as always, let's get moving. Bye.